Okay everyone, so this video is going to show you why you need to make sure that you have to watch out for things like undercut, wrap your welds, and be careful with your stop starts. So here's what we've got, and I've taken some pictures. I'm going to post them up as well. So we've got a really big crack in this bucket. Now this is for a paving company. You can see there's asphalt everywhere. You can actually also see that you're going to hear it come by here in a second. There's a helicopter circling. I think there was an incident down the street overnight. I think they're looking for somebody, so you'll hear the helicopter. So it's a pretty big crack. Now they brought it to me to get fixed, obviously, because if they continue to do it, the bucket's going to be ruined, and they don't want to obviously do that because they don't want to buy a new bucket. But it sees a lot of abuse. Okay, you can actually see there's wear here from it shifting side to side, from the mounting bracket hitting side to side on the bucket itself. There you go, you can hear the chopper now. There he is. I don't know, hopefully find who they're looking for. Anyway, yeah, so what we're seeing here is, the first thing I want to point out is, see this sawtooth pattern right there? That's from somebody doing a whipping motion as they weld. So every time you do a whipping motion, you're creating these little ridges, and every time you have a corner, little corner, little corner, little corner, little corner, it's a possibility for a crack to start. The smoother the weld, the nicer the line, the less likely for this to happen. I don't know whether this was where it started, but also look right there. You've got a restart there. They had their weld here, they kind of wrapped it around, but you've got a cavity here. You got a crater. You also have a low spot here. You've got a crater here. You also have another restart here. It looks like it was even a downhand. You got a crater here as well. So you've got all these little spots that now have low spots, and this is right at the edge of the weld. This is cracked right here at the edge of the weld. Okay, so you've got all these spots, and even down here, I even think that this is lack of fusion. Right? Lack of fusion, and that's going all the way around to the crater there. So what's happened is, somewhere, and I'm going to say because this is the widest spot that's been moving the most, somewhere in here the crack started, and it started because they're using the bucket, moving it back and forth, lifting things, pushing, what have you. It's under a lot of stress, and what's happened is it is now this area at the toe edge of this weld, because it doesn't have a lot of rigidity, because there isn't a really good wetting action or a line of fusion between the weld and the parent material, it just starts forming a crack. And then, well, as you can see, the crack moves, and it just keeps going, and it keeps going, and it keeps going, right, all the way down. So I'm going to have to tip this bucket all the way back up and around. Also notice, it's now cracking and going through the parent material. It's going in all directions. Anywhere the stresses will push, a crack will travel. Same thing over here. Same kind of thing over here. Not as bad yet, but it's starting. I've got a crack starting here. It hasn't started to come down here, so I'll be able to grind this out. I'll grind this out and put a weld across here, but I got to grind this out. Again, sawtooth pattern through there. Stop start. Low spot. Low spot. Cracking, starting to work its way through the parent material. Other thing I see here, I think I see lack of fusion here. If you look really close, there's that line, that brown line there. That's actually, I think, rust. I don't think it's dirt, because I've gone at it with a wire brush, a wire wheel on a grinder, and that's still there. So I think that's lack of fusion there. And I look over back in the corner here, and I can see lack of fusion in through here too. I saw it in through here. So it's not a crack, it's just lack of fusion. So the weld didn't bite in very well. So now we've got, but that can lead to a crack, because it's going to have stresses. Because wherever you have fusion, if you don't have fusion, if the weld, especially here in this corner, really low spot, sorry, let's put the camera where it's supposed to be, right where that low spot is in there, there's no weld there. Well, there will be shortly, because I'm going to put it there. That's the importance of making sure your welds are wrapped. Wrap your welds all the way around. Make sure you have a good fusion line. And when you're doing a pass like this, don't whip back and forth. You're not doing yourself any favors.